Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Gift of Gab.
God, I love this spell.
Do you? All right.
I do.
I could. I'm struggling to find where it would be useful, and It should be useful for me more than anyone else. But actual gameplay, though. Well, let's get into it. What does Gift of Gab do?
Okay, this is one of those acquisitions incorporated spells. So it's the goal of it is to be a little bit silly, a little bit lighthearted. It's supposed to bring some juicy comedy to the table that Bob may or may not have strong opinions on. But the gist of it is this isn't supposed to be the game warpingly powerful, but it's a nifty little way that changes how the table plays. So this is a reaction-based spell, which is sweet. And you take the reaction when you speak to another creature, which is low bar, right? What does this do then? It costs you 2 gold coins whenever you use it. That's consumed upon cast. It's a tax for using the spell. When you cast the spell, you skillfully reshape the memories of listeners in your immediate area, which that's undefined, but you'll figure it out. So that each creature of your choice, within 5 feet of you, it is well defined. I just needed to keep reading. Forgets everything you said within the last 6 seconds. So it just says, everyone around me, 6 seconds, you forget everything I just said. Those creatures then remember that you actually said the words you speak as the verbal components for this spell, which is sweet. So this is a bard wizard spell. Again, this should just be a bard spell, and I'm really annoyed this is on the wizard spell list. But anyway, moving forward past that, this is a spell I think that understands D&D roleplay better than any other spell does. I don't think there's a spell that has a better encompassment of the actual gameplay of role-playing in Dungeons & Dragons, the actual majority of tables that are laughing, that are, having just a lighthearted time at the table, trying to bullshit their way through a circumstance, trying to get through information out of somebody, trying to convince someone that they're actually, to buy them drinks or whatever, to engage socially, than Gift of Gab. Because this one recognizes the lovely meta that happens whenever someone says something profoundly stupid that they don't recognize as that stupid, but everyone else immediately does, and gives them a tool to work with to mitigate that in a really fun and funny way. I'm a huge fan.
There is a tool for that. It's the DM says, "Wait, do you really say that?"
Exactly. But this is a codified spell that lets the DM just say, "No, you said it. I heard it come out of your mouth. It happened in game," and they go, "Actually, I Gift of Gab that back because that was a horrendous idea." Now, is it worth a second level spell slot? Absolutely not. Not even close. This probably could be a cantrip. But
yeah, it could be abused as a cantrip.
Yeah, maybe. The impact of it is not that high, and there's going to be a lot of tables that do exactly what you just said, right? It's going to be a lot of you be like, "You really said that? That actually came out of your character's mouth." Because a lot of groups, there's like this understanding, right, that us as players aren't going to be, we're not in the circumstances. We are saying what we would like these characters in the story to do. And the characters in the story have more perspective. They have different thought. They have different ideas, conceivably, right? They're entities separate to us that we're playing. So us coming up with the idea of, oh, this is going to be exactly what we need to say, and they you would actually just offend every single dwarf around you if those words came out of your mouth. The character may get that and the player may not in the moment, right? And that's where the DM would be like, your character would know not to say that kind of shit. And then in that case, this spell's basically worthless. If you aren't at that table, though, if you are at one of the tables that enjoy making big mistakes and living with dire consequences and accidentally revealing the entirety of your plan to the villain, then Gift of Gab fits on your character sheet really well as a tool to mitigate that. It won't be for most tables, but the tables that really do enjoy it and really want this kind of effect specifically on bards, I think it's going to be a blast to use.
Now, you mentioned, all right, maybe like a green player doesn't know this thing about dwarves or something. He says something maybe he shouldn't have, but his character would know better. That's one set of circumstances. But there's the other where, we are a group of friends around a table playing, and I say in response to the orc, "Your mother was blah, blah, blah." And, I have to say that because it's funny, but obviously my character isn't saying that.
And that is where...
Does Gift of Gab come in there, or is the DM cool
It's gonna vary, right?
Yeah.
So I genuinely think there are plenty of bards who 100% in character would make your mother jokes at people and would regret it instantaneously.
Yeah.
And on those characters, Gift of Gab seems perfect. On even characters that are supposed to be like more stoic or serious, where you, the person, think it's hilarious and want to make the joke for the table, there will be some tables where, you know, it's a muddy line between where the player ends and the character starts. People aren't necessarily that invested in the RP of things, and they still are just more there for the socialness, right? And that means the really stoic paladin makes a your mom joke at the table, and that just comes out in the role play and Gift of Gab, you know? I mean, it doesn't affect them because it only reshapes memories of, oh no, it just changes what you said. It doesn't change what anyone else says. So you can't like use this on your paladin when they screw up. But if you're the bard or the wizard doing it, then yes, in that instance, can make a character that is otherwise stoic fix what they say so that they say things properly. And that's not meaningless. That has some value. But like you said, there's going to be a lot of tables that just be like, no, my character would never say that. You all know that, right? They'd be like, yeah, you're fine. Keep going.
What else do you want to say about this? This is
it should be a first level spell.
Yeah.
The gold tax is cute. Whenever you see something that's like this low costed, the idea is to be like, yeah, you're making mistakes, but it's like a menial tax. Most of the time, whenever you're in the mid tiers, like it's gonna cost you at most like 50 gold for the whole campaign to use this kind of effect, and that's not a meaningful amount. I said in another video recently, gold doesn't matter. Gold is just the quantity of resources that the DM decides to arbitrarily give you. So, like Gift of Gab isn't gonna have a real cost that's gonna feel that weighted unless the DM is like really stingy and be like, yeah, you're all broke. Gift of Gab is off the table. Which like if you're at that table, acquisitions incorporated books probably don't belong in your area anyway because they're like very different feel than the hard ass. This is how much gold you have, gritty, difficult. You're paying for copper pieces, scrounging to get by. Not the same mood as the acquisitions and stuff. Still.
All right. I remember what I was going to ask before.
All
right, the 5-foot range. Now, I get it when you're talking one-to-one with a person. Oops, shouldn't have said that. Let's fix it real quick. Fine, but you're in a crowded bar and you accidentally shout the N-word. Now, people
we'll gloss over how that happens accidentally, but then continue.
So you could change the memories. Sam. You can change the memories of the people within 5 feet of you.
Yep.
But not those outside. So
yep.
I don't know
what does that look like?
What kind of circumstances are happening now?
Wild and wacky ones. So this is the kind of thing where like you atrociously screw up and offend somebody in the way you depicted. I think is a great example. Like you're talking to the one black guy in the bar and that comes out of your mouth. Everyone else like turns to go, what did he just say? And the guy in front of you just looks perfectly chill with it, right? It's just like, I didn't hear nothing. And everyone's kind of like, what? And that's a neat little social roleplay moment. That's going to be a really funny bit that a lot of tables are going to really enjoy, is having a diverse amount of reactions to what is said, what they perceive to have heard, and the varying number of creatures. Because some of the creatures within 5 feet of you, the close people at the bar, are going to be like, yeah, that's normal. That was fine. Whatever you reshaped is a perfectly acceptable conversation. And a whole bunch of people be like, that's not even remotely what he said. What did you hear? And that's going to cause some chaos. That's going to cause some moments. And I like spells that do that, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm thinking if you use it strategically, like, all right, you intentionally say something, you know, is going to get people riled up, then you take it back for the people immediately surrounding you just to start a bar fight or something. I don't know.
Sure. I think this spell has some sneaky applications of being pretty good. That's an example of it, is getting other people to respond to something and causing deliberately there to be confusion in the ranks, right? If you can have the people around you heard you say one thing, people outside of that heard you say another thing, and there's big disagreement there for some reason, that could be a use case for it. And that's like a proactive use case for it, which is pretty cool. To the same effect, using proactive use cases for it, this can be the kind of thing where like you deliberately probe a very sensitive question and then make it never happen. And that's useful. You have a 6-second window, so whatever their first response comes out with, you can be like, rewind. This is what you actually heard. And they go, well, I don't remember what I just was saying. And then you move forward with that. It can be, it's tight, but it can be a way to do interrogation in a really, and not even necessarily interrogation, but like asking invasive questions discreetly.
Like Groundhog Day.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's proactive applications. I like it.
I think this spell is really cool. It definitely doesn't need to be a second level. I would go as far to say, if you're a DM that really likes this effect, drop it to first level. Like, let your bards just go nuts with this. It'll be a great time. I even think it's one of those spells that won't get really overused, largely because there's the characters and bards that are going to be the ones that typically want to take it. There's going to be a lot of them that like the outcomes of causing a ruckus. There are going to be a lot of them that really enjoy I got this person mad and I'm rolling with it, and that's fine. I'm not burning a first level spell slot to say I'm sorry. They could deal. There's going to be a lot of fun with it to be had. And for that reason, I mean, you can run it a second level, you can run it as written. It's not going to be amazing then. It's going to happen less, which is why I'm a proponent of making it a little bit more accessible. But I mean, this is, again, definitely my favorite spell of Acquisitions Incorporated. I don't think it's very good. I think even like the proactive use cases we're talking about are really niche, and it's not going to come up and play almost ever.
Depends on the player. I could see it coming up a lot with me.
Short.
Like combine this with friends.
That's also an interesting idea. Just be the person that's whole objective is to mitigate how angry people get with you by deliberately trying to make them angry. But then, like, if we're honest about the effectiveness of that, you're just going in circles. Like, you're not actually progressing most of the time. You're just preventing yourself from screwing up, which like guidance does no problem. Which you have other proactive measures with the checks and dice in the game. Like, this spell is in a weird space where the majority of them affect gameplay mechanics. A majority of spells affect dice rolls, affect how dice specifically interact with creatures. So whenever you're talking about roleplay circumstances, normally it's my character. I am saying one thing as a player. My character translates that through their mouth and experiences, and that is a persuasion check, right? With Gift of Gab, it is a 1-to-1. Your voice is the character's voice, and that is what is being augmented and altered by the spell. And again, it's a way that no other spell does it, which is going to make it so that it inherently can't ever be that powerful, because it isn't affecting a persuasion check. It's only going to be reactionary based off your DM, and it's only ever going to get you in circumstances where the best proactive use case for it's probably going to look like a charm person. It's probably going to look like, and a worse version of that, it's probably going to look like, I don't know, again, cantrips, right? Like, I think Friends is pretty apt comparison, and I'm not over the moon for Friends, but this is way more fun than those. So
I think we did the video for Friends, right?
I don't remember. We do a lot of these.
Yeah, I think we came to the conclusion that Friends is more fun than most people give it credit for.
True.
But
and this is more fun than Friends.
Maybe.
It can be.
I think they're different, similarly fun.
And I think they go on the same character, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Mine.
Yep.
All right. You got a score?
It being a second level spell slot is a really, really big ask. So that's why I think it's a 1. If it were a first level, I'd say it's probably a 2 or a 3. But at a second level slot, that's rough. But if you're okay with having a non-optimized character, if you're okay with your spells being just more for having a good time, this spell's not amazing, incredible. But yeah, it's not good. It's fun though.
I was gonna give it a 2 when we started this, just because it's not like hateable, but I didn't really care. But I kind of talked myself into liking it over the course of this conversation, so I'm gonna go with a 3.
Do it.
All right.
Despite it being a 1, players out there, you should take it. This spell is hell of fun.
All right, that was Gift of Gab. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.